It's time for the Ravagers to rise once again to glory!
You are listening to The Ravager Report, a Fox Next Marvel Strike Force podcast dedicated to bringing you the latest news, information, and updates. With your hosts, Dorian.
It is a name what strikes fear into the hearts of anyone what hears it!
And Hebrew Hammer.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
Hello and welcome to episode 17 of The Ravager Report. I am your host, Dorian, and with me, as always, is the Honorable Hebrew Hammer. Hebrew, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, buddy. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. So, to those that are listening live, we are trying something a little different. We are going back to Craig. The creators of Craig have updated it to do some better web recording, so we're hoping that this will help with some of the audio quality and make it so that I am clear, Hebrew's clear, and things just sound better. So if you like the new format, if you don't like the new format, come to our Discord and leave us feedback. You can find us at discord.me/Ravager Report. All right. So, Hebrew, before we get into the news this week, unfortunately, we don't really have much this week, so I think we're going to really just kind of cover the dev blog. But before we get there, why don't you let everybody know what you did this week?
So for me, I didn't do too much. Classes just started back up, so that's just, it's inevitable, but it's kind of a pain. But yeah, it's I guess good in some ways to be doing something productive again, because I have played so many video games in the past 2-3 weeks. So, but yeah, so we're doing that. Currently, my eyes are also burning like crazy because of these new contacts that I have. So if I make it sound like I'm crying, it's probably because I am. But yeah, other than that, trying to think. Oh, got back into Destiny because I'm waiting for Anthem to come out, and that's the closest thing I have to it.
Warframe.
So I've been playing. I actually tried Warframe a bit, and I couldn't get into it. I think it's because I like to play on the PS4 more, and the graphics on the PS4 were just not good. So granted, I don't have the 4K PS4, so maybe that's why. I don't know if it's 4K, capable, but yeah, for me, Destiny is good. I love the raids and everything like that.
Yeah,
and it's familiar to me more than anything else.
Yeah, if you like PvP, I've heard Destiny is just so much better. The PvP in Warframe is really kind of non-existent. So
yeah, I can't speak to PvP on Warframe, obviously, but Destiny has its issues too, mostly balancing issues, but it does have a solid PvP system, and it does have Gambit, which is like the new mode, which everyone freaks out about. Haven't played too much on it yet, but it's kind of like a horde mode meets PvP. It's interesting. But anyways, so I'm doing that. Also, if anyone is a hardcore Destiny 2 player and is up to date, if you are, please contact me on the Discord because I have some questions for you. I just came back in and everything has changed and I'm trying to figure it all out. But other than that, yeah, just waiting for Anthem to come out, starting to get everything that I need to get some streaming done. Yeah, just, things are coming together, and that's, about it outside of the game. Inside of the game, haven't been doing anything too crazy. Nothing big has happened, thank God. No news is usually good news in this game, I feel like. But yeah, been killing it in the raids. We're hitting the 60% mark now, I believe, and we've been doing a really good job with that. It is difficult and everything, but I'm glad I'm getting those Juggernaut shards. I just got him up to 6 stars. And I'm working on Wolverine right now. So my brother's team is actually very, very good right now. I have them all up to T11. And I think Wolverine is just 4 stars now. But everyone else is 5 to 6 stars minimum. So
but Wolverine's only 4 stars because you've refused to put the gold into him to upgrade him, right?
And Wolverine's only 4 to 6 stars because I just remembered he's not Wolverine. He's Sabretooth.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why I said I always.
I don't. that's fine. I mean, I'm just kind of like, that's fine if you want to run Wolverine with that team because Wolverine gets a lot of hate, but it makes a heck of a lot more sense for it to be Sabretooth, not Wolverine.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why I keep always saying Wolverine instead of Sabretooth, but yeah, I'm sure it has something to do with that.
Because
but my subconscious knows more than I do. That's for sure.
Yeah, Sabretooth's kit should have been what Wolverine was.
Yeah,
Wolverine should have been what Sabretooth is.
Yeah, I mean, we have similar feelings on Wolverine. Like, his ult is good. Like, I wish it was a little more powerful, but his passive is garbage. And, or, I mean, other than the healing factor is good, but the revive is terrible. They need to change that up or make it incredibly efficient for him specifically, something like that. But anyways, yeah, it's definitely not up to par, and I like Sabretooth's kit a lot better, but I just wish it was on Wolverine because Wolverine's more iconic, I feel like. But regardless, yeah, Sabretooth is at 4 stars, I think now, and he's the only one that's kind of lagging behind, but, you know, he's got 3 red stars on him, so it's not terrible. But yeah, pretty solid team there. Getting my shield is all up in T11 as well. It's terrible. I always have no gold now since, you know, over the past like 2 months that I haven't spent. It's awful. So I'm not enjoying that. But yeah, other than that, pretty good, pretty solid week. What about you?
So, not much has been going on really outside of game. So I was off of work Monday and Tuesday because Sunday I got hit with one of the worst migraines I've had in a long time. I had to go to the doctor Wednesday because for about the past month and a half now, I've been having this high pitched ringing in my ears, and you know, so always worried that, you know, there might be some type of rupture or some other issue going on. But thankfully, well, I mean, it looks like it's just tinnitus. So we're gonna try to. Yeah, we're gonna look into some like B1 stuff because that's supposed to help with some other vitamins, and hopefully that will take care of things. So, but the worst part about it is when I try to sleep because it's like you always hear something, and so
yeah,
it stinks. But yeah, the migraines were really bad Monday and Tuesday, and it was really weird because they were only triggered if I was under fluorescent light or in daylight. If I was in a dark room, I was fine. Like I could play on the Switch, I could watch TV, I could be on my mobile phone, and not have any migraine issues. But once you turn the light on, it just triggered, and I thought like my skull was coming apart. So it was really, really weird. In game though, I've had kind of a big week. I finally got Rocket to 7 stars after him sitting at like 296 out of 300 for 4 days. Because, you know, the Fox Next, you know, drop algorithm was like, oh, he's close. He'll keep buying them until he gets it. That's not a real thing, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. That is not a real thing. But so yeah, Rocket to 7 stars, which is kind of cool because he is a 4 red star character. So he kind of rips things apart. I've watched him hit for 50, 60K crits, and it's kind of a thing of beauty when he's with Groot. Other than that, in games, I've been keeping. If you're on our Discord, you'll see me post these occasionally. I've been keeping everybody updated on my AIM progress. So this week, I finally got Scientist Supreme to level 70. I got her abilities up to, I want to say 6554. I'm having trouble convincing myself to drop the last ability, you know, take her to level 6 for her special because all it does is add an extra ally to flip the buffs. So it kind of, you know, I'm kind of like, man, you know, I'm kind of going in on these guys, but none of the other AIM drop minions or anything. So I'm like, why do I care about an extra ally? I just don't. So then I've been.
There's a bigger question there than that. I feel like, and that's why do you even care about this team? Like, why?
so I, you know, obviously I talk about it on my in chat as well, and I think it may have been Evan who was like, you know, somebody in 6 months the question will be why don't you have AIM, and Dorian will have the solution. So, look, they've already told us they want every team to be viable in this game. And I have a feeling that at some point, look, we've already seen it with Kree. We will likely see it with Hydra and with AIM, where they're going to be required for something more than just this gamma raid.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, just because it's something different, and I find it amusing. It's kind of me trolling the world. It's me trolling the MSF world because I'm like, AIM Monstrosity and Assaulter aren't that bad. They really aren't. Those guys those are the two of the hardest hitting characters in this game. I don't know if people realize that. Now, Monstrosity is slow as all get out. I'm not going to lie. But when that dude hits, he's only like
downs himself.
But that defense down doesn't last very long because AIM security it has this taunt that goes up, and she slows herself when she taunts. So that taunt lasts a really good long time. And Scientist Supreme comes in almost immediately after, if you time it right, and flips that defense down to a defense up. So now he's sitting with like 2 offense up and a defense up, and he's just crushing people. He's just one-shotting people, and it's fun. Now, I don't take them past tier 1 in Blitz because I don't have the team fully built yet. But I've got Monstrosity up to level 60, 62 maybe. I have to double check. So I think I dropped it in the general chat earlier. So yeah, AIM's coming along. I'm working on them slowly but surely. They are my extraneous farm, in the fact that after I do my daily farms, then whatever extra energy I've got for the day, just goes on them. That reminds me, I gotta get today's energy, or this energy right now. So also, I'm nearly done with Kree to 5 stars, so I will get Nick Fury the next time he comes around. I'm down to 2 left, and I want to say Reaper is at 120 something out of 130, and Noble is like 102 out of 130. So it's there. It's getting close. I'll have Fury next go around because I already have Fury at 4 red stars. I also already have Magneto at 4 red stars. So that team's pretty much gonna be ready to go. I saw you typing in chat about me playing the long con. That's what I do. Hey, look. I'm 2 for 2, people. I'm 2 for 2. All right. So yeah, that's kind of been my week. Sadly, we do not have a new data mine for this week. The only data mines that I saw reference the Saturday super sale. It's probably because we're going to get the update next week, and the update is going to drop on January 22nd. And so I'm not surprised we don't have a data mine. So with that, Heber, how would you feel about us moving right into the news?
Yep, I say we go for it.
All right. So to be honest, we don't really have a lot of news to discuss this week. It's been a relatively quiet week. There hasn't been a lot going on. So today, however, we did get a dev blog post, and so we're gonna go over the dev blog post for January 18th, 2019, and this is entitled "Prelude to War." Hello, Commanders. Get ready because the Prelude to War arrives next week. Our newest event campaign follows the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. as they attempt to secure the road ahead for the upcoming Alliance War. Prelude to War provides rewards to unlock heroes from both the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. and our new War Initiative Orb, as well as War Machine character shards upon the first-time completion on Hard. This campaign will also be a great way to earn War Machine's partner, the Invincible Iron Man. To join the adventure and collect character shards for Iron Man and War Machine, you'll need a team of skilled characters for both the medium and hard difficulties. Here's a complete rundown of the character shards found in the War Initiative Orb. Black Widow, War Machine, and War Machine will have a higher chance than the other characters. Hawkeye, Black Panther, Vision, Ant-Man, Captain America, Quake, S.H.I.E.L.D. Medic, S.H.I.E.L.D. Security, S.H.I.E.L.D. Trooper, S.H.I.E.L.D. Operative, and S.H.I.E.L.D. Assault. War Machine enters the fray with an arsenal of firepower that'll turn your enemies into a smoldering pile of rubble. James Rhodes, aka War Machine, is a fearsome blaster capable of lighting up the battlefield with his full kit of area of effect damage abilities. War Machine is also the first character Marvel Strive Force to have a mode-specific bonus in his ability kit. At level 4, his passive provides a 10% damage bonus in the upcoming Alliance War. Designed to be part of the Avengers team, War Machine's bonus synergy with hero allies and his longtime friend Iron Man provides some exciting compositions. War Machine will do more damage during his ultimate for every hero ally on the board, providing a glorious burst of damage that engulfs the entire enemy team. Alongside Iron Man, he gains a 30% bonus at ability level 5 to critical damage, and an extra attack to his special ability, and the ability to gain death proof for both him and Iron Man on Spawn. Together, War Machine and Iron Man are a duo of destruction. That's all for today's blog. We'll be back next week with creative director Jason Bender and developer Update 9, where we'll provide a look at some cool new things we have coming up ahead. Until next time, good luck, Commander. So, not a whole lot to digest in this blog. It's really kind of straightforward. Before we get into the things we don't like about this, what are some things you did like out of this dev blog, Hebrew?
Things I did like, the fact that I guess we're going to be getting a campaign specifically for the upcoming mode, Alliance War. So that's going to be kind of just fun. It's just like an extra thing to do. And I like the fact that I'll potentially be getting extra shards for my shield team. So that'll be good. But, well, I won't get into that yet. But, but yeah, so I mean, that's kind of cool. I do also like the fact that he has a lot of synergy with one specific character, because that's kind of what I've been asking for a lot ever since Daredevil and actually really was it Iron Man and
Cap?
Thor. No, Cap. There we go. Iron Man and Cap. I like that because you can piece them out if you want to and make some cool, interesting compositions. And I feel like you're really going to see that come into play here, because a tech team with Iron Man and War Machine is going to be really good, considering the synergy that they have between the two of them. So I'm very excited about that. And yeah, just, War Machine coming in general is exciting. So, but that's about all the good, which is a fair bit of good. But that's about all the good I see here yeah, that's probably about it. What about you?
So I guess the good for me is that War Machine is coming. I would say that he's obviously characters that is going to be in the new update. I do like the fact that he is going to synergize with Iron Man. It does make sense to me, obviously, that would happen. I think him having a lot of AoE also makes a lot of sense to me. Some of the at least one thing that you liked, I actually don't. And this event campaign is not going to be the Alliance War. It's not going to be leading to Alliance War. It's just an event campaign, just like what we have going right now with Sabretooth. It's just that the storyline is going to be around the lead up to the Alliance War. That's all there is to that from my reading of this. My main issue, to be honest with you, is that this is a campaign where you're not really getting War Machine shards. Every campaign event we've had, you actually get the character shards you're getting, you're supposed to get from that campaign. You'll get first time completion, but if they follow the current pattern, it'll be like 2 and 5, right? So 2 for the easy ones, 5 for the 20 energy nodes. After that, these orbs that you're getting, they're not. Yeah, you get a higher chance of getting War Machine, but I'll be honest with you, I don't trust their odds. I really don't trust their odds. I think they're lying to be honest with you.
I agree. I 100% agree on that.
And we're actually going to discuss that a little bit more later in our segment of the week from Della. But I mean, his kit sounds cool. I mean, he's going to be a blaster, so maybe somebody to help out in that top tier blaster challenge I mean, maybe if you get lucky with red stars on him, I guess. Um, I, I would disagree that he's the first character to have mode specific bonuses in his ability kit. I would say Storm was probably the first character to do that. Because she's really only valid in raids with her charge ability.
No. But this is
I know,
like
but
this.
I would argue that I understand where, but I would argue that hers is a mode specific bonus because charge her up and nuke ultimates. But no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So
well, I think for me, first of all, I think with the event campaign that I do know that it wasn't like, how should I say, like it didn't have anything to do. Well, it does. So I don't even know why I'm saying that. But I know it's an event campaign that isn't, Alliance War. But that's what I like about it. It's an event leading up to Alliance War. That's what it's about. It's like a little storyline that goes with it. That's what I like about it.
mm-hmm.
So I do like the fact that is the way it is, and that they set it up like that. I think that it isn't. I'm trying to frame this correctly. So this isn't something that I thought they would do. And if you took out the War Machine part, it would look like a gift, because it would be like, oh wow, it's an extra way to recruit all of these Shield and Avenger people with a cool storyline that leads into it, right? And that's how I prefer to kind of look at it. But instead, it's kind of been skewed into this. It's how to get War Machine, but it's a perversion of it, right? It's like a cheap way to do it to make sure that you don't get the shards to actually unlock them. And that is definitely a valid way to look at it as well. I think that he's meant to be a character that you don't get easily. So he's kind of like, even though he's not like a legendary event, I think he's going to be like one of those really hard to get characters. So, we'll see how that plays out and what the drop rate is for it and everything like that. But he's definitely going to be more rare, from what it sounds like, because we're not going to have any kind of event unless they do a blitz for him. But I doubt they'll do that immediately. It'll probably come later on.
Well, no, because this campaign event is continuing their gambling trend, because
double RNG is their thing now.
It is, and here's what's happening is now your whales are going to spend money to refresh energy on these campaigns events to get a chance at War Machine, right?
Yeah.
So it's more double RNG gambling, and I'm just going to call it that from now on. It's double RNG gambling, and I'm really getting sick and tired of it in this game. It's it's to the point of stupidity right now.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the. I mean, I see it as, I kind of made the decision after Red Star, so I was like, all right, if I'm going to keep playing this game, I'm just going to accept the fact that this game does these things, that it has these ethics, it has these morals. That's what it's going to do, and I don't want to skew this into a big gambling, ethics and gaming kind of thing. But I know we're not getting there. I'm before anyone, thinks that it's going there from an audience perspective.
Yeah.
I just want to let them know we're not.
No.
But yeah, so I think that whenever I accepted Red Stars, like this is the thing that happened. This is how it is from now on. The developers don't care anything of what we have to say about it. Our feedback is not instrumental to them. Once I just kind of accepted that, I just kind of I adopted this attitude of just like, let the chips fall where they may kind of thing. It will always be like that. There was not enough of a reaction to what happened to deter them from doing so. They haven't fixed anything. They haven't changed anything. And they're leaning into it.
Right.
We're seeing more things now with double RNG. So honestly, and this isn't just specifically aimed at you, but if this is something that really bothers anyone that plays this game, I would highly recommend probably not playing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it upsets me too, but it's just the thing of like, at some point you got to accept it, because you're going to keep getting very angry, because I promise you there is much more of this to come. And I'm not advertising you should quit this game right now. Just be aware that is a thing that they have embraced in this game.
if you don't like gambling, it's probably you better cut your losses now. Don't get into the sunk cost fallacy. And honestly, I mean, really don't. I mean, just
Yeah.
But
I
had
think,
a friend today. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had a friend today who quit Star Wars after 3 years of playing. Just he was like, I'm done. I just because this whole thing that they did, and he was like, I'm out. Sorry guys, I'm out. And like he quit, and it's just like, wow, because he was one of the higher persons in our guild. I mean, he was really good. Had almost he had over 4 million galactic power. I mean, sometimes you got to do that. You got to get past that sunk cost fallacy and do what you got to do. Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to walk away, like Hebrew said. But if you don't want to participate in the Fox Next Casino, this probably is not the place for you.
Right, and this is kind of I want to leave it just at this one last question I'm about to ask you, as far as things I'm saying that's apart from the game. I feel like we're going to start seeing a trend a little bit moving away from these microtransactions from in part from, I think, regulations are starting to come into effect and they're pushing it in various countries. And I think through osmosis, it will eventually be put in here. I think that we're going to be one of the most resistant countries to do it, but we'll see. But that being said, the gaming industry itself, thanks in big part to EA and all the pushback that they had, we are seeing more games come out with content that is free. So, like, for instance, a couple of big games that are coming out and did come out. Was it Monster Hunter? Was a huge game with a long franchise.
Monster Hunter World?
And yeah, Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, my son has
the
that.
most recent one. Yeah, well, all the content that comes out for that, all the expansions are free.
That's really nice.
And Anthem is another one. All the content is free that comes out for it. The only thing that has microtransactions are cosmetics. That's it. And it's the same thing like with LOL and things like that, and all the other MOBAs for the most part, they all monetize the same way. And their gaming industry is huge. These companies are getting ridiculously fed up on it. Fed up on money,
right?
Because it's a great way to monetize. People don't feel cheated, and people want to support a game, but they want to do it for the right reasons.
Yeah, I'm actually. It's funny that you mentioned that because I'm sure you've heard me talking about it. I know you have, and some of our listeners have. Elite Dangerous does the exact same thing. You bought when you bought the original game, the first expansion you had to pay for. But after that, everything's been free, and the only stuff you buy is like cosmetics or extra voices, things like that for your ship. And I mean, it does really, really, really well. I mean, Frontier's a AAA developer. I mean, they're making really good money on that. So it is a trend we're starting to see. I hope we start to see it in mobile gaming, and I hope we start to see it soon. I really do, because it's bad because of the fact there's a whole lot of things about it, and I don't want to go down that road again. But it's just bad, right? Because honestly, because of underage. Yeah,
that was my biggest problem with it too. But all right, let me go ahead and put things back on track, just because I'll finish saying what was the bad part.
You mentioned. Yeah, I was gonna say you mentioned earlier that there was something that you really, really, really did. So why don't you do yours? And I'm wondering if it's going to be the same thing as me. So, what is it that you really didn't like here?
Well, I mean, there's a few things that I didn't like. There was one thing that I don't really like the sound of, but I'm unsure about, and I think that's what you're referring to. But I just didn't voice I'm not sure about it yet because I'm still thinking on its impact, I suppose. But regardless, the things I don't like about this are the fact that, yes, there's double RNG. We kind of just went over that. I don't like that it's there. And also the fact that, this is going to be War Machine's exclusive campaign, quote unquote, or at least most likely. They might come out with a separate campaign for him, but probably not. But, it is what it is there. I'm trying to think I took my contacts out, so I can barely see anything. But yeah, so with the thing that I was just kind of unsure about, not a big fan of the 10% bonus to that specific mode. And the reason
Yeah.
why I say that is because I think that they're big on having gateways to things that they do. They place something in the game that's relatively small that will shoot them in a direction of what they want to do later on in a bigger way. And we've seen that every single time. We've seen that with lockouts with star levels, right? We've seen that with a whole bunch of stuff that I, of course, can't think of right now because I'm dumb. And but trust me, there are other things. I've created a mental list of them like 20 minutes ago, and now they're all gone. But yeah, so I don't like. I have a feeling that by doing this, they're going to start coming out with characters with more mode specific stuff, and the bonuses are going to be more and more and more drastic as we go on with the releases.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how I feel about that because I hate having one character pigeonholed into one specific spot, and I feel like the more powerful they are in one realm, the less powerful they're going to be in another realm, and I'm just not a big fan of that. I like my characters to be used freely, so I'm not a big fan of the mode specific stuff.
I'm not either.
I feel like, yeah, I could be wrong though. Like if they do it really well, like I could see it being okay, but I just don't know. Because it's a really weird balancing act, because I feel like by having that extra 10%, in order to make him still valid in other game modes, he should at least be balanced up to par with everyone else, but then have an additional, this is a super overgeneralization of all characters in this game, granted, but basically I assume that would have to be at the same overall power level, let's just say. That's the cumulative factor of everything that these characters are capable of. But he has an extra little bonus of 10% whenever he's in this mode. But then that would make him potentially too powerful, especially with the kit from what it looks like, where he does more damage for the more people that he has on, or more allies that he has on screen. So I don't know. I see that becoming like really, really powerful if they balance it like that. And then the other way to do it would be as if they make him underpowered in other modes and make that 10% bring him up to balanced. I know this sounds probably really weird to people, but it's the only way I can describe it in my head.
No, I believe it or not, I follow you, and
great.
I agree with you. I'm not a fan of mode specific. On the face of it, look, 2 months ago I would have told you a 10% damage bonus in Alliance War. Okay, fine. Depending on the rest of his kit, that doesn't make him overpowered in that mode. It doesn't really do. I mean, let's say his damage maxed out is 10,000, right? At base.
Right.
That's a lot, but I just want simple numbers, right? That's only going to make it 1,100. Okay, so that's not horrible. Where it gets really bad, though, where it gets really, really, really bad, is when you take red stars and throw them into the mix. Okay, and this is not red star bashing. Before we go there, this is a math problem at this point. If you get him to 7 red stars, he gets a 75% bonus to everything, which means that 10% damage bonus becomes a 17.5% damage bonus on top of the bonus that he already gets to his 75% extra damage. So that 10,000 damage,
stars,
so that 10,000 damage suddenly becomes 17,500, and then you throw another 17.5% on top of that. Okay, that's where it gets really, really, really crazy. Okay. You look at the things like his 30% bonus to crit damage at ability level 5. Well, you take 75% at 7 red stars on top of that. Let's just go 4 red stars with a 20%, right? So 20% of 30% is crap, math's failing me. So 50% would be 15. So I mean, you're looking at taking him almost to a 37.5%, 37% crit damage bonus. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's just at 4 red stars. That's not at 7. That's just at 4 where we really start to see the power creep in. So I worry that some of these characters aren't being designed with 7 red stars in mind. And so I have a tendency to agree with you on, and I don't want to see them start do this mode specific stuff because it just, I don't know. I feel like they're trying to
pigeonhole.
Yeah, it's almost like they're the problem is that since the release of Red Stars, there's not a big reason to farm people, right? There's no reason to farm new characters unless you get lucky and roll that dice, right? And you get lucky with them, making them suddenly super powerful. Because you have other things that you can put resources into that are going to provide you more immediate return. So characters are going to have to be more and more powerful as they get released to entice you, or they're going to have to do something special to entice you to want to get them. And I think we're seeing that here. Now, I really, really, really hope that Iron Man gets a rework with this. Because he needs it. He is the worst legendary of the bunch, and he really needs a rework. Yeah, I hope they're not just saying, "Oh, look, he might get death proof as the rework." That's not okay.
I don't think he's a particularly bad character. We certainly have characters that are in far more need of a rework. But you're right. Out of
not
the bunch of
legendary
characters,
right.
That's what I'm saying. Out of the bunch of legendary characters, he is, I would say, objectively the worst. Who are the other ones that we have? Let's see.
Well, there's Fury. Because we all know he needs some hand. He needs some love. There's Magneto. There's Star-Lord.
Yep.
Those are the only 4 we've got.
Right. So yeah, he is objectively the worst out of all of them. He's still decent though, like for sure. But I wouldn't like quantify him as, oh my god, legendary worthy, but anymore. But that, he's one of the first victims of power creep that we see, and it's just going to happen. Like this game that's how power creep is the name of this game, because that's how they increase monetization. They have to make the new thing the best thing in order to make people buy it. So he's just one of the early victims of it. We're going to see more. There's going to be a day whenever, the reworked Star-Lord is no longer, like super great. Certainly not in the position that he is right now. And even Shield, I would say. It's going to be a long time, but yeah.
And speaking of that, that kind of leads me to my second biggest problem here.
Yeah.
You have to have skill characters for the medium and hard difficulties. Now, we have seen recently that the campaigns have been much easier than they have in the past. Now, I don't know if that's because as players, our rosters are advanced enough to where the campaign modes, the difficulty hasn't really changed from one campaign to the next, but our rosters have improved enough to compensate for that. But part of me is really, really, really worried that they are going to tune this raid for Red Star Fury teams. Or not raid, I'm sorry. This campaign event. They're going to... no, don't get me started on the Gamma raid. That they're going to tune this campaign event for Red Star Fury. And if that's the case... Oof. I think I texted you. I might just be rage quitting.
Yeah, I think that's one of the interesting things that we're going to see here, because this is the first campaign where it's exclusively skill characters, and so many people do have Shield now, and Shield is so strong. It's interesting to see how they balance these enemies and nodes based on, is it everything that we have available from skill character, from the skill group, or are they going to skew it more towards what's needed to be challenging, quote unquote, for Shield players? Because then everyone else is screwed. So that will be interesting to see. And I gotta say, gut feeling would probably be it's not gonna be too hard. I think it will be challenging, but not crazy for characters that are not like the Shield Nick Fury team. But I think that Shield and Fury will walk through it.
Yeah.
Because I think, and it's only because, just as you said, recently all of these events or character campaigns have been relatively easy. But then again, this is also something kind of new as well, so we'll see how they balance it, because it isn't quite a character campaign. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see.
So,
but it's interesting that we're going to be crossing that bridge now.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a very interesting bridge to cross. Now, Evan in chat asked, do you think that this is that they're kind of announcing a new Iron Man here? My answer is no. I don't see them announcing it, because it says the Invincible Iron Man, where it doesn't say that in game. So I'm not sure, because it kind of reads weird here with this campaign. This campaign will also be a great way to earn progress towards War Machine's partner, the Invincible Iron Man. Now, you can only use S.H.I.E.L.D. characters to get Iron Man, so I don't know if they mean, hey, you'll get more S.H.I.E.L.D. to get more Iron, or if they're actually talking about the possibility of a new Iron Man coming in the future. What do you think on that?
I doubt it'll be a new Iron Man. I would be really surprised and very excited if they did that, but something tells me that won't be the case. And that's not like a hit on Fox Next at all. That's just like, I feel like we would have gotten, they're pretty good at teasing, or not good at it, but they commonly tease things that are coming. You know what I mean? So I don't see them just dropping a new character like that. I think so. They always usually put out something or give us notice of characters that are coming through dev blogs. I don't remember the last time they just dropped a character on us.
Before today, did you have any suspicion that War Machine was coming?
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. We got a tease for him.
Yeah.
That's the tease.
What's the tease?
The video.
The video was basically an announcement he's coming. I don't see that as a tease. I mean, the even.
Well, yeah, but I think he's saying like, or maybe I'm misunderstanding what he meant. I thought he meant like, in the campaign we're just gonna open up the app and there's gonna be the new Iron Man.
No. I think he means like, is there a new Iron Man 2-3 months down the road? Are they leading to a new Iron Man coming soon? TM.
Sorry, my eyes are literally on fire for some reason, so I don't know. It's hard for me to concentrate.
Do you need to go to the hospital and get an eye flush?
I went while you were talking earlier. I did actually go to the bathroom and like run water all over my eyes. My eyes are like watering like crazy right now. I have no idea why. It's my new contact solution. I think is terrible.
Yeah. So,
but anyways,
just so everybody knows, Dorian didn't just go on a rant to leave Hebrew out. He was letting Hebrew go do his thing.
I guess you somehow knew it.
You weren't saying anything, and normally I can hear your background a little bit.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
I figured it was completely dead, that you were gone.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think it's like podcast partner, like telepathics right there. Like I think we just like
absolutely, man.
Yep.
It was more suspicion.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'll take credit for it after the fact. Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
But what else was there other stuff that you didn't like about this?
Was that everything on your end? Because I honestly can't read. I can't read the rest of it, and I don't remember the rest of it. So was there anything that stuck out to you? And then I can tell you my thought on it.
Other than the fact of the double RNG, if I do a campaign event for a specific character, I think you should only get that character. I'm not a huge fan of the mode specific bonus, but at 10% it wouldn't have been horrible. But when you add in Stark Tech and then you add in Red Stars, that bonus is going to grow pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, outside of those, what do you think? I don't think there was anything else, if memory serves me
I don't think there was really anything else. I mean, I'd like to see the damage numbers, obviously, but I mean, his output looks like it's going to be crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like that ultimate for every hero ally on the, that's going to be
that's
brutal.
what I mentioned earlier. That thing is going to be super mean for damage, and the cumulative percentage stack that we could potentially be looking at for that character, that's going to be super, super mean.
Yeah, I mean, you can't run this team, but I can imagine running him with Iron Man, Star-Lord, Vision, and Rocket.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the percentages and the scaling for that ult, you might want to even have a character like Fury who can summon minions.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
that's actually a really good call. I'm not sure the synergy bonus wouldn't be there, and I'm not sure if I see that'll be a question. If minions count, that'll get crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we have to look at, and also if it's worried or worth potentially sacrificing some synergy for some potentially more optimal pairings to get that bonus percentage up with the minion ally summon. So you have to weigh it out, but it's a potentially a really big thing to do with that comp.
Yeah, absolutely. The two things that are really going to determine that for me are going to be the energy requirement for it and where it starts at. Because if it's like a 6 energy and he only starts it's empty, or it's only 2, I'm not bringing Fury for those extra minions. It sounds nice, but getting that timing to fire off properly is going to be really, really, really hard.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends, especially with Fury. I mean, in a lot of cases, you like first thing I do is I summon the extra minions, and that's turn 1. And once you get to turn 2, if there are some of them alive, and you use your ultimate, I'm sorry, not your ultimate, your special to buff up everyone, I mean, no one's getting knocked down once that happens. So if you have a full team, he summons 3 minions. If you put your T4 ability into it, you're looking at a pretty deadly comp no matter what, because that special ability of Nick Fury is super powerful with any team. So yeah, I mean, you could really do some devastating stuff if War Machine has high scaling on that ult, if it's worth it to bring in more people for that ult.
Yeah. And I apologize for sounding distracted. I was reading something. So Evan in chat said that the devs responded to the blog on Reddit, and I was reading that. And so let me read that right here. Sure. The side pillars of the War Initiative will have 100% chance to give War Machine Shard. The center pillar will have an increased chance to drop War Machine, as well as the other heroes on the list in the blog. So that eases it somewhat. However, the side drops are always just 1 in every orb so far. So if you're only going to get 2 guaranteed per drop, it's still really pathetic. I mean, it's an improvement, but it's a pathetic improvement.
Yeah.
So I'll have to see what the side drops are going to be, but it's probably going to be it's going to be horrible in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be great, but I don't know. I should say after Red Stars, and this isn't me being like, oh, screw this game. Like after Red Stars, nothing affects me too much in this game. I suppose. Like I feel like that was such a hit that this doesn't surprise me, nor do I think it's going to affect me that much. It's not going to be ideal, obviously. I hope that they aren't thinking about that this isn't just another gateway for them to kind of release campaigns like this to create a stranglehold on a new character, and see if people accept it or if they buy it or what. Because I feel like that's what they do a lot of times.
I think if this game has shown us anything, it's that people will buy it. People will buy it. They will buy anything.
Yeah, that's usually the case. And that's why a lot of times whenever they test these little gateway systems, it usually stays into effect for the rest of the game because people do buy it. Yeah. So, I think... Yeah, it's an unfortunate reality, but a reality nonetheless, I think. That being said, yeah, so I'm not I'm not crazy upset by it, but we'll see how it plays out. I don't think it's certainly not the worst thing to happen, but I hope that they don't make this like a consistent thing. That's my
Right.
biggest thing.
I mean,
I hope that this is more just like a one-time thing because it's because we have that node, or not that node, that mode coming out, and he's kind of specific to that mode, so they're trying to make it seem special. I think that I'm hoping that's the only reason why.
I am too. But my biggest one of my biggest complaints is that a year in and they're still trying to figure out their identity as far as content release. Especially for characters. There's zero consistency in character release. Zero. And it just makes it hard to get excited for new characters or even know what to expect.
I think I don't know if I would agree with that 100%. We have some consistency. I wouldn't say zero. Recently, pretty much since Brotherhood, it got shaken up a little bit, but since until that point, it was relatively consistent on what we were going to get. It was going to either be from a blitz or it was going to be from a campaign. The first time you saw them, you knew it was going to be through one of those two things. The first time whenever we had a shakeup from that was not Wolverine, but it was Sabretooth.
Was it Sabretooth or was it Mystique?
Oh no, Mystique was different too. So yeah, it was Mystique and Sabretooth, because Sabretooth went exclusively to an increased chance of drop on premium.
Right.
And Mystique just went straight to a node, which is
right.
I'm not terribly upset about that. That was, at least we can get her actively and focus farm her. I didn't quite get as much at the beginning as I would normally get because, didn't have a blitz or a campaign, but that wasn't terrible. But a really bad one was the Sabretooth originally, because it was just in the premium, and then they released the campaign node later. We also saw a little bit of that with Loki too, I guess. But
yeah, Evan pointed that out in chat because he was only from Premium Blitz. They teased him in April, and then we got him in August.
Yeah, but I also believe his blitz came fairly soon after. I don't remember offhand.
No. That premium drop, I want to say, lasted 2 or 3 weeks before we got the blitz. Unless you call that close. If you do, okay, then I retract my statement.
Consider that. Yeah, I don't consider that too bad. But you're right; it's subjective. So yeah. For me, that wasn't too bad. But I just don't. I'm trying to think back to it, and I just don't remember me being too terribly upset about that. But the Sabretooth one was particularly bad because they purposely created that stranglehold knowing we were going into a legendary event.
Oh yeah.
Loki was on his own, so it really didn't affect us that much. But yeah, so anyways, we're seeing like a little bit of confusion on when people are coming out and what way they are. But to be fair, we did get his event eventually. And for Pyro, we had his. What did we have him in? We didn't have him in an event. We had him in a raid.
No, it was he was campaign event and then blitz.
It was an event. Okay.
Yeah.
God, we've had literally such a flurry of content in the past few months that it's hard.
It's been a flurry of content since the game started. I mean, the problem is the problem is that it's a repeat of the same content every time. That's my biggest problem.
Quantify it. Yeah, I wouldn't quite quantify it as quality content. But yeah, I think that there's definitely some consistency, but recently it's been shaken up a little bit. But I'm not too worried.
Look, if it's more than 2 months, for me, and this has been a 2 to 3 month long thing now. I mean, that's almost a quarter of the lifespan of the game. That there has been no consistency for character release, and it was just kind of going all willy nilly.
Because there's been raids, blitz, and character events. That's what they've always been.
But
it's just
there's been no flow. Mm-hmm. Right? So, like San Francisco points out in chat, Pyro was actually a blitz first, then the campaign event, then another blitz. Right? And
you're right, yeah.
My complaint is that there's no consistent flow to it, in that, like, you get the campaign event, then, the next week you get a blitz, and then, maybe there's a raid. Right? they sometimes we get a blitz first, sometimes they don't come out at all, sometimes it's just a premium orb drop. It's been very inconsistent now, really, since I want to say October, November. There's been no consistency
it's just like they're
for
not
characters.
It's just that they're not finding like totally new ways to drop characters on us. So I would say that like character delivery method has been relatively consistent overall, but the new like recently, and like I mentioned, ever since Brotherhood, really, it has shaken up a little bit, and it was really specific to those Brotherhood characters, because it was Pyro, and it was Mystique and Sabretooth that really like kind of were weird in how they entered the game. The Spider-Verse characters, those were relatively normal. So it was just kind of like that one weird spot, and then they're kind of like catching back up with those characters now. So it seems like it's been weirder, but I don't know. It's subjective nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And look, I'm not upset that they're releasing the characters. It's just it's impossible to plan or prepare for something, and it makes it impossible to really farm consistently when you don't have a consistent drop rate, or you not consistent drop rate, but when you don't have a consistent release cycle. It makes it harder kind of the
plan,
problem.
Yeah, it certainly makes it a little more difficult to plan. That's for sure. But that being said, I don't mind them, and I've always maintained this. I don't mind them trying to figure out new ways to bring us characters, but I do think that they should be, I don't know, more creative, I suppose. And I know that sounds stupid, just saying like, yeah, sure, be more creative, figure it out. But in all reality, like, I'm not the person with endless amounts of money, the company with endless amounts of money that can hire people to think about those things all day.
And
so it shouldn't fall on me as a burden. But there definitely are more creative methods of character release out there, and I don't mind them experimenting with that. But the experimenting that they've done so far has been a little lackluster.
I think my biggest complaint is that there's no. Maybe it's not the character release consistency now that I'm thinking about it. I think it's the farmability of characters and how those are released that really gets on my nerves. That we have characters that, like, for example, this past week we got Deadpool in Arena, right? Which I think was great. But it's been a year, right? I mean, it's been 9 months since that character came out. 7, 8, 9 months. We still have characters that have been in here since launch that aren't farmable. We have characters that we've had, campaign. Yeah, Black Widow, Nobu. We still have characters that we can't farm. Period. That have had events, and so they need to come up with this cadence for a release cycle and say, okay, we're going to do this, and you're going to get either the character is going to come release, or I'm sorry, they're going to come campaign, blitz, or raid. That's going to be one of the release strategies. Once we do that, the day one of that release, we're going to start the clock, and we're going to say in 6 weeks, that character is going to be farmable from somewhere. Rather than, will it be farmable? Will it not be farmable? Who knows?
Right.
So...
I don't disagree with that. I don't think it needs to be as on the clock as that, but definitely there needs to be a general time frame, I think, because with Black Widow, it makes no sense that she's still not farmable. 0.
Yeah.
But they want her as a paywall character. I don't really like that, especially since they know that she's very good. But yeah, it is what it is. I don't mind them experimenting with stuff. Just make it good.
Yeah.
Experiment well.
Yeah, make
it a little more inventive.
That's where we keep falling short. So
yeah. But yeah, I think it was about it for the dev blog overall.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we've beat that dead horse. And for those that are wondering, yes, Thanos did come first. Thanos was the first before Deadpool. So so since I'm not recording locally anymore, I couldn't tell you. I can tell you that we started about an hour ago. So I can tell you that we're about an hour in at this point. So not too bad.
Yeah, that's fine.
And we are trying to keep it a little shorter this week. So I think this week we're going to, unless you want to cover this real quick and maybe do some quick some quick Carnage theory crafting, we could move into the Patron of the Week segment. So I know you're not feeling the best because you're going blind over there. So if you kind of like to move things along so you can get to the hospital, I completely understand.
I'm not going to go to the hospital. It is doing okay, or better, I should say, for the most part now. I just, once I took my contacts out and flushed out my eyes, I think it's doing a lot better. But my eyes were not happy with me. That being said, I don't have my glasses because I always.
Oh, you can't read Carnage, contacts. Right?
Exactly, I cannot.
So
read
you can't
Carnage.
read his kid.
Yeah, you have no idea how terrible my eyesight is without contacts. I can't see a darn thing. I'm like up in. I have to really be like right up next to the screen, and right now I can see Evan, like the last thing he said, kind of. So, yeah, we should probably just save that for another time, I think.
That's fine. We can do that. But I do want to, before we continue, I just want to commend you on your dedication. That even when going blind, you continue to podcast. It's awesome, right? Your dedication has me astounded. Absolutely astounded.
Yeah. We should all aspire to be like me. You heard it here first.
I didn't say that. I just said your dedication to this podcast is a bit astounding. Then what we're going to do is we're going to hold off on theory crafting. Not in the game. No real rush to it. And next week we're probably going to do a character deep dive. I'm sorry. We will be doing a character deep dive next week for War Machine. And when we do character deep dives, we're going to try to get some more theory crafting in on these characters than we have in the past. And kind of talk about them a little bit more. And then for those weeks when we don't do a character spotlight, I think we're going to try to do some more theory crafting. And maybe bring that in as a segment. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But for this week, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our Patron of the Week question. And our Patron of the Week question comes from our new patron, Della. So Della asks, how do we fix the RNG aspect of Red Stars? I understand they are here to stay, but when I open 16 orbs and only one new character is getting Red Stars and 0 characters are getting more than they already have, it gives me zero desire to spend money on the offers. If RNG is a must, I wish we could at least pull Red Stars for certain groups of tunes, i.e. Bioskill, Mystic, etc. So it's kind of fitting that you ask that question this week, because Hebrew can tell you, what was it, Hebrew? Wednesday? Was it Wednesday? Mm-hmm. I think it was. I sat down and I crunched the numbers for Red Stars, and it's honestly disturbing. So we calculated out that at the current character rate. Now that's all going to change next week when we get War Machine. Basically, every character decreases the odds of pulling a specific character, and it increases the number of pulls that you need. So we're going to talk entirely about 4 Red Star characters here. And so 4 Red Star characters, there are currently 85 characters in the game. To get all 85 characters at 4 Red Stars, you will need to pull 1,173 Red Star orbs. Now, that's a ton. That is an absolute ton of orbs. We calculated out that if you look at the what is it, $19.99 for 5 Red Star orbs. So divide the 1173 by 5, then multiply that by 20, and you roughly get $11,000 that you have to spend just to get 4 Red Star characters, the entire roster at 4 Red Star. Now, you could wind up doing it cheaper. It could wind up costing you more. That, unfortunately, is the problem with the double RNG. I'm talking from the base percentage. The odds of pulling a specific character at 4 Red Stars is 0.09%. So 0.09 of a percent. That's ridiculous. And that now
it is.
Albeit those numbers are from the standard orb, not elite. So when you get to elites, is a little different. You have almost a 0.9% to pull a specific character. So basically, it drops by a factor of 10. So instead of 1173, you only need like 117 elites to get the same number of characters to 4 red stars. However, the only way to get elites is through duplicates on the red stars, and that's where it starts to get even worse. The number of pools to get an elite, you need 6 4-star characters just to get 1 elite orb. So that winds up increasing the number of pools that you have to have, because there's no real way to get elite red stars other than the standard. So it's absolutely crazy the amount. If you want to get your entire roster, as of today, right now, if you want to get your entire roster to 7 red stars, which is the ultimate goal, right?
Right.
176,000 standard orb pools or 17,600 elite orb pools. It's and it only gets worse the more they add to it, because the chances of pulling a specific character drop. So it actually works on a kind of a bell curve here, where as you get to that 50% line, the number of orbs that you need to pull reaches its peak. But once you cross over that 50.01%, the number of pools starts to increase again. So let's say tomorrow Foxnex comes out and says, hey, look, there are 85 characters in this game. We're going to give you 84 of them at 4 red stars. You just got to find the last one. To find that one, you would still need to pull 1,173 orbs because of the drop rate percentage. It's a dumb system. Now, what's really cool is Assassin, who has verified these numbers, also sent me Monte Carlo simulation calculations, which turns out is almost exactly what I was doing here in Excel. He wrote he had it in Python. He has a write-up that is absolutely amazing, talking about how you can normalize this power distribution and the orb pool to make this much more palatable. I don't have those numbers directly in front of me. I apologize. But basically, the entire thing comes down to you have to get more value out of the star drop for elites. Because right now, if you pull a 4-star duplicate, you're getting basically nothing for it. You're getting nothing for it. And it's a complete waste of money. So if you spend money on the 5 orb offer every day, right? And out of those 5 orbs, you get 1 4-star drop. You're only getting 900 elite shards. You're not getting value. You're not getting the value for your money for that. So that number has to be that number has to be brought up, and it has to be brought up close to, I want to say, into the 1750 to 2250 range to make it even viable to get a 4-star drop on a standard or an elite.
Yep, that sounds about right.
So, I know I've thrown a lot of stuff here. So, is there Hebrew? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. Am I happy about it? No, not at all. But I knew that these were the numbers that we were looking at whenever we first saw them. I think that the odds are very much against us. It's literally made exclusively, even at its most basis form of implementation, it was made to make money. We never needed them. Like, this was really just a power move to get money. And it makes sense that the math follows suit with that. Like, it is, you're going to get screwed a lot more often than you get lucky, bottom line. And the system that they have in place for the elite red star orbs is just as terrible. I don't think I've gotten anything above a 4-star, and I think that with exception to two, with exception to 2, they've all been duplicates. So it's basically I get screwed a lot to then build up to an elite orb, and then I get screwed by the elite orb. So I'm just basically getting screwed the entire time by red orbs. So not a fan, and but it is what it is. I don't want to go crazy on it, but what would be, just to finish off what he was saying, what would be your fix to this?
So real quick, one of the things, like Evan in chat mentioned that Shoeburger 84 pulled like 4-star Miss Marvels in a row out of elite orbs. The chances of doing that, let's see. Oh wait, I used the wrong number. He pulled those out of elite. That changes the math just a bit. Hold on one second here. The chances of doing that are 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. It's almost like 5 billionth of a percent to do that. That's
I think Chewy has the
it is right, and that is over an extended amount of time, but still the odds of that happening. So you could almost say that this is why I don't believe their drop numbers. I don't believe them, or I think there's something going on in the back end. Now, do I think there's this RNG seed method? There very well could be. There very well could be, because I don't have anything to say there doesn't. But I will say it really seems like something funky is going on, because you should not be getting this number of duplicates out of with their drop percentages. The odds should be against you doing that, to be honest with you. They should be dead set against you. So the ways that I would fix this, or the ways I think to do it to maybe make the RNG factor a little better, would be, one, make them trait specific, so that you could get your bio, you could get your tech or whatever that you could apply to anybody that you wanted. Mm-hmm. I think doing that would help normalize things out quite a bit. I think that increasing the number of elite shard fragments that you get per 4-star, because if you pull an elite and you get a 4-star, you're hosed. You get nothing. I mean, 900 you get 1/6 of an orb. That's ridiculously dumb, because it takes you so long just to get a single elite. So by at least by increasing the numbers, even though it doesn't, like Flip saying, it doesn't mean farming is possible. Even though it doesn't make that farming possible, it does lessen the blow of pulling a duplicate 4-star out of an elite. I would cap standards at 4-star, and I would make elites 5, 6, and 7-star, to be honest with you. I'd have to look at the numbers a little bit more. But Assassin's numbers, when I read through his document on some possible fixes, the 4-star range is where you've got to concentrate, because that's your crossover point, because that's where the elites, that's the bottom level of the elites, and it's that mid range for the standards. So you've got to kind of concentrate on that 4-star area. And I think that you've got to bring those numbers up for duplicates.
Yeah. So I have similar thoughts on that. So some extremes that I would do, one of them I think would be a lot of fun to do, but let me see which one I should start with. Okay. So my practical method would be, just what you said, and something that, I've said 1,000 times is, and several of us have said now thousands of times, It's just, yeah, basically make it so that whenever you pull something, it pulls for a specific group, and then you can pick who to apply it to. It at least eliminates one of the RNGs, so you just have the single RNG instead of double RNG. So that would be much better in every single way. And then they, I still want them to change more as whenever it comes to the Elite Star Orbs, but even that would be just enough to make me happy. You know what I mean? But one thing that I think would be really fun that they did to kind of throw the whole system on its head, if you get an Elite Star Orb, I think it would be cool if you pulled a 4-star, or I shouldn't say a 4-star, but if you pulled a duplicate in an Elite Star Orb, you get more than what's required for another pull. So you would get, like, let's say 6,000 or 5,500 or something like that. So that way you get another pull, and you even get kind of rewarded because you just got screwed. So you could keep getting screwed and then start building even more and more and more. It'd be kind of like a fun system of you getting screwed and having fun.
Yeah, but the only thing
doesn't make sense for them. But
well, I think the only thing that works on that is that if you hit 6 and 7 Red Star dupes right now, you already get more than what you need for.
Yeah, but chances are you're pulling 4 stars. I'm talking about even a 4-star.
I mean,
you get enough to pull again.
Yeah, you've got to say. I mean, you've got a 75% 4-star out of an Elite Orb.
Yeah.
So no, I agree with you. Are you wanting to increase that across the board, all the stars, or just the 4-star, and maybe the 5?
I don't particularly care. You could keep it the way it was, as long as the biggest thing is for the baseline, the 4-star, to be able to have enough to, if you pull a duplicate, specifically, then you end up getting more than what's required. So I just think it would be more fun to be able to do that. You understand what I'm saying? Why, like, the little game that you would basically get into doing if you pulled more than what's required to pull again.
Oh yeah,
I think that would be a lot of fun. It would actually be like rewarding you for being screwed, for the game screwing you over. I think that would be a blast. Especially like if you went into a loop basically of pulling dupes like 10 times, then you would have enough for 2 more pulls. It would be a lot of fun. And then eventually you would be at least guaranteed to get something new. At some point it would stop and you would get something new, whether it be, 4, 5, 6, or 7, who knows? But basically, I just want to make it guaranteed. I want to make something some way so that you are guaranteed to get a character that you don't have, even if they just from regular Elite Orbs to regular Red Star Orbs to Elite Red Star Orbs. Even if they just made it so straight up you can't pull on a character that you've already got that star of. So if I have 2 stars of Nick Fury, right, and I pull again, there's no way in the world on either orbs I could ever get a 2-star Nick Fury again. It'd have to at least be a 3-star Nick Fury, 3 or above. Like, at least that way, eventually everyone is guaranteed to clear everything. Does that make sense? Because I just basically want Red Stars to be over with. They'll never allow that because that's how they make money.
Right. They're making money on. They're making money hand over fist on Red Stars because I don't think people are understanding the odds. And
no, people are understanding the odds. They're not patient enough to deal with it, and I don't blame them.
I don't know if people understood that just to get their characters at 4 red stars, just at the 4 red star level, it's 1,200 orbs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they know to that specific of a degree, but I don't think you even need to. I think if you look at the percentages, which they clearly say on there, which I agree, something's weird going on with the algorithm. Like, I firmly believe that. I believe that for a very long time. As someone who has been screwed on everything, I don't want to get too conspiracy theory with it, but I pulled like 600 premium orbs now, and I've gotten 3 or 4 blues total. So
hey, you should only have to pull 100. You should only have to pull 100 gold orbs to get a single million. That's all you should
where's
have to do.
My million at? I have pulled.
I'm just saying. Have you pulled
100 of those things
since they've changed this? Since they changed the drop rates.
I've probably pulled. I don't know how long has it been, because what we make about an orb a day now, or orb and a half, or I'm sorry, half an orb a day. No, probably 3/4 of an orb a day. I think something like that. Anyways, I pulled a lot.
It's only been a month or month and a half, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. But either way, if you look at no matter what, like it doesn't even matter. From if you look at how many gold orbs I've pulled on, I should have had several million pulls by now, like several. So I mean, I'm just unlucky. Bottom line, and obviously it works for other people, and that and the gold orb aspect, it just doesn't work for me. Anyways, I don't want to make it about me. Anyways, back to the red stars thing. Yeah, so I think if they just put like at least if they did that, it would be a way to at least guarantee that everyone would eventually finish it up, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. We could just move on from the nightmare that is red star orbs. So yeah, that's my fix.
Yeah, I mean, other than just taking it away, I mean,
I'd love that.
Yeah, right. It's not going to happen. I would pay good money for that to go away.
No, never.
I think that your suggestion, just to counter your suggestion, where if you got an orb, you got that orb back plus, like, let's just use your number of 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely fight against that tooth and nail. Because for me, that actually encourages the gambling aspect of it. It actually triggers the gambling endorphin rush even more. So I you know me, I'm a proponent of taking the gambling out instead of putting it back in. So I think that would be
my counter to that counter, I suppose, would be more of it, regardless of that, it gives you better odds and it'll give you an actual end of completion. Like right now, people are just going to be blindly investing in it and they're never guaranteed to get anything out of it. At least with that method, you are guaranteed to get something worth your money. I'd rather be guaranteed to get something worth my money than nothing worth my money if I'm going to be spending the same amount regardless. So at least that way, it actually works in your favor. It works in the player's favor, not the other way around.
And that's fair.
That's why it would be good.
That's fair. I'd have to think
I know
about
what you mean.
more.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, though, that like you get like you're like, oh yeah, I'm winning. But at least you are actually winning. Like they aren't, they're not. I just hate, and I've done it so many times now. I get this absurd price of 5,000, which are like, yeah, well, if you get a duplicate on 5-6 stars, then you get a whole bunch back, so it doesn't even matter. I don't care. I'm getting duplicates at the 1-2 star level constantly, right? And then I finally get enough to pull up for an elite, and then I get another duplicate, and I'm like, why the hell am I even doing this? And then I go to my arena, and I see people with 300K or so sitting at the top of my arena, and I'm like, great. Well, I'm sitting here with my 195 defenders. I don't know. It's frustrating. I don't want to. I'm obviously getting triggered by this,
right.
So
it's
already annoying me thinking about it. So
yeah. So I think we've kind of beat that one to death this week. Unless you wanted to add.
I will say one other thing. So it's we all hate the system of Ultimus, right? Like that was the before Red Stars existed, that was like the system that was like, oh my god, it's terrible. You're just you're going into a system and you're getting diminishing returns over and over and over again. This, at least with Ultimus, you aren't required to have Ultimus for anything. You know what I mean? Like by having Ultimus, it gives you a very slight advantage, but it's nothing massive. Like it's not a big deal. And even then, like you don't even really see him any much. Even the people that do have him, like he's never really used. So that isn't like that big of a deal. It's more of just kind of a trophy to put on your wall. But having that system times 10, as far as how bad it is for something that is required and it has massive advantage, is just terrible. I just want to say that last thing. That has nothing to do with anything as far as it's just more of me bitching. But continue.
Yeah. No, I mean, if only like this super awesome group of people had come out and tried to warn everybody and said, this is really, really bad. If only such a thing had existed.
I think luckily, like a majority of people that kind of pay attention, and I'm not trying to demean other people that that throw money at the game. Do what you want.
Right. Hey, look, it's your money to spend as you will.
Yeah.
Right. As long as you're not, as long as you're not running up debt to do it, you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I don't want to sound like I'm talking down to anyone else, but yeah, I think that a lot of people were against it. It's just the fact that a lot of people can't help themselves in paying for it, and it really is particularly bad. I don't want to get back in. Continue, or I'm going to keep diving.
So well, I think we're going to go.
I don't want to.
So I think we're just going to go ahead and move into our grab bag. Yeah, we've got a few questions this week. So our first question comes from Eyes Can't Read. He says, I joined about a month before Nick Fury came into the game, and have seen the rosters of a lot of players who joined after me who started going for Nick Fury right away. Only working to get him. I'll only be getting him this time around. My CP is 1.5 million, STP of 220k. Most of them are at 600k with a CP of 150k. STP. How bad do you think going for Nick Fury hurt players joining around this time who tried for Nick Fury with no hope of getting him till it's too late?
I mean, how much did it hurt them? I mean, I don't think it like really hurt. It depends on how much they invested it. So he's saying if they joined around that time, I can't read the question for myself because I'm blind, but
he said like he joined like a month before.
Right, and he's saying for people like him that joined around that time, correct?
Or people that even have joined after him who started going for Nick Fury immediately.
Right. So if you don't get them, right. So I think that you're not screwed because Shield within itself is a decent team. It's not the best, but I think you're most likely, even the people that are focusing for that, you're probably on the sidelines boosting up some other people too, or at least I hope so. Because there's some avenues in the game where you're getting credits for things that have no applicable Shield characters. So hopefully you're also kind of trying to progress on other people as well. So hopefully you're not too screwed. But yeah, I mean, if you are really focusing all of your efforts and your refreshes and everything like that on a specific group, and you end up not getting that payoff, yeah, you're going to be a little bit behind. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. But regardless, you are still much further ahead than a lot of other people playing the game from even far before that. Look at you, for instance.
Right.
Like, you're going to get them on this upcoming go around.
Right. At 5-star, no higher.
You haven't had him. Right. And, I just got him on this last time, and you've been playing for a little bit in beta and me since launch. So, and let me tell you what, like, Shield within itself, even at the 5-star level, at even at T10, they were doing work, but T11 and up, like, man, they destroy everything. So I'm telling you right now, you won't be as diverse, but that just comes with the nature of joining a game late that requires diversity. But you certainly aren't in a bad place. And as soon as you get Shield, even though you might feel that kind of drought in power relative to other players for a little bit, as soon as you get them, even on the next go around, like, you are going to be in a much better position than a lot of other people in this game, especially people that started around your level and didn't focus on Shield at all. Because once you get Shield, you are going to bypass those people. I guarantee it. Intimation, that's what I think. What do you think? What were you going to say?
So I actually disagree with you. Surprise, surprise. I think that focusing on Nick Fury, so it depends on how you're doing it, right? So because you got to because Nick Fury is such a hard farm to do, because you've got to concentrate on Kree just to get Fury, and then you got to concentrate on Shield to support Fury. So you're farming really 9 characters at one time. You have to really make this a viable farming strategy. You have to do all 9 together. The thing is that the metas change, and metas change. We've not seen the meta change as much as I would like personally. I think Fury's been in there way too long at this point. But the problem is that short of nerfing the character and the way that team works, coming up with an anti-shield team is going to be really difficult. Um,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
and and honestly, they're gonna have to at some point. They're gonna have to nerf that Fury team. They have to.
I don't think so.
They have to. So the problem is if you don't, you wind up in creating this ever increasing exponential power creep.
That's what we have. That's what they lean into.
I'm sorry.
I have a couple things that I'm gonna like.
So you
tell you afterwards,
you
but
have
you go
to
ahead and
you have
finish
to have
up yours.
okay. You have to have some power creep. I mean, you know, in games like this, you almost have to, but you don't want this exponential power creep to where okay, hey, we created this team to be the new meta, and it's so much more powerful than the Fury team, and and then you know the next team beyond that has to be so much more powerful beyond that because it's a vicious cycle that creates this ever increasing power creep that I've seen in other games that I've played that will wind up forcing people to quit. I mean obviously going for Nick Fury is a very smart move. Is it the first thing I would tell a new player to do? Not on your life. Because I think that you're setting yourself so far behind that you'll be playing catch up for a very long time to come. And the moment they drop another character or another team, if you don't have any of the supporting cast around that, like the Brotherhood, right, or the Defenders, you're hurting yourself. I think Nick Fury's a great character. I think they're a great team. I think they're well worth getting. But I think they're maybe a level beyond what a new player should be focusing on.
Right. Let me just say a few things back, and I understand your point completely, and it absolutely makes sense. But there are a few things. So first would be and granted, this does require a more aware player, newer player, I suppose, because you would have to know this is happening. But we know that the Kree rework is coming. So investing in Kree right now might seem like a meh kind of thing to do, but the payoff is most likely coming. So there is at least that's coming out, and you're probably going to be ahead of the curve on a lot of other people that haven't touched Kree. So that's something, not to mention you investing into Fury and the Shield team as well. It is a lot to take on at the beginning, and that's why I said like you are going to be behind at the beginning. And you know, everyone, I think even someone said this in chat. Hold on, I have to like press my eyes against the screen. Evan Evan B even mentioned this in chat. Like everyone falls behind that's farming because like even me that is very competitive, especially whenever I went free to play, farming up for Fury was terrible, and I was falling behind in a lot of places that my teammates, especially on the competitive level that we're at, it really kind of hurt even me in comparison. So everyone is always going to be a struggle. Getting it at the beginning, though, I think is one of the best things. That being said, as far as the meta is concerned, you're always going to be in these games, and we even kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, you're going to be seeing power creep. And I agree with you, there's a difference between general power creep and exponential power creep. I don't think that we're seeing exponential power creep. I think that we're definitely seeing more power creep than what I would like to see, that's for sure. I would prefer no power creep, but even in an accepting amount of power creep, I think we're still seeing a little bit more, but I wouldn't classify it as anything super, super crazy. But that being said, there really isn't a good way to counter Fury. Like the way that team is set up makes it very hard to screw that team over. And even then, the way that they're set up, they'll still always be useful for raids. That's a big issue. The only way that you can really lock them out of a raid is not give them nodes. You know what I mean? But even then in ult 6, or the ult raids that we have, and hopefully they won't have the team specific nodes, or at least a lot of them in ult 7. But you're still going to be able to use them for that. Overall, it's just a really, really powerful team to invest in. I'm losing my train of thought here. The capability of speed bar management, the massive buffs, the heals, just everything about that team is ridiculous. And I agree they are a very boring team to play. I think Creative Name mentioned that. I'm not going to look back for it now because my eyes hurt. But They are a very boring team to play, but they're incredibly good. So yeah, I don't think it's a bad investment at all. I understand and respect Dorian's opinion on that though, because it, like, in the meantime, you are definitely going to be dragging behind.
Yeah,
So and
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that is one of the things you have to worry about, and you are kind of banking on a payoff from Kree a little bit, but I think you're going to be seeing something pretty nice there. And also, even in the background, like, you can still be farming just lightly, more specifically in stores, some other people, like getting the defenders prepped. Because if I was new, I would be going for, personally, like, I would be going for shield. I would be saying, all right, well, I got Kree coming in, and then I'm going to be farming defenders in the back. So that way, whenever I get these teams set up, I'm going to be going straight to defenders. That would just be me. I would call that playing the meta for the most part. But meta's changed, so maybe you bank wrong. But I think here it's a pretty safe bet overall. At Brotherhood, I wouldn't even worry about, by the way.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch the Brotherhood at all. They're worthless.
As someone that has them, exactly. Someone that has them at a very high level, they're absolutely useless.
They might be able to beat Fury on offense, but unless you've got a team to back them up on defense, you're not doing anything. No, you're right. I would my biggest issue with the farming towards Fury, I guess, would be it's such a long farm that until that legendary event comes back, you're really, really hurting yourself. Whereas if you are farming like the defenders now and then side farming the Kree or the shield, you're gonna be more productive. You'll be placing higher in raids. You'll be getting more resources than what you're going to get by focusing on the Kree or the shield. And then you also have to consider the fact that you'd have to be an alliance that's going to be willing to basically carry you through these events with you doing minimal work, because the Kree aren't going to do anything in the raids, and Shield does okay without Fury, but they're not the powerhouse that they are with Fury. So you're going to have to be comfortable coming in close to the bottom on raids, and your alliance is going to have to be okay with carrying you that way. And I think that's a lot to ask of a new player.
And yeah, those are some potential downfalls. I personally, it really comes down to what you think the payout is, if you think it's worth it or not.
Because there's sometimes whenever you have to go over that long haul, but I think that also with the Kree, there's we're seeing nodes now where Kree is an option, and having a high level Kree team could really pay off in the future.
Yeah,
if you're one of the few people that actually has one. So, but
hey,
I know what you mean. You don't want to play off of its and buts,
right?
But at the same time, like, at least you are getting something incredibly good at the end of the rainbow, but you just have to walk there first.
Right. And hey, you can say the same thing for Hydra and AIM. Just gonna throw that out there.
That's a much longer walk. I don't want to take that walk.
I'm just saying they're now node specific too. So I've heard some rumblings about Alt 7, and I'm not looking forward to that one. So yeah. All right, so Jolio asks, what are your feelings on putting Deadpool in the arena store? Good move? Bad move? Personally, I prefer someone to be added to the Blitz store. A related question, should they consider making some other way to get arena credits other than dailies and ranking? I think adding Deadpool to a store was great. The arena store, I think was bad move, personally. Because we've already gotten 2 brand new characters in the arena store is the only one that's been updated. And that's been, I take it back. Ant-Man went to Blitz. Okay. So, but the arena store has gotten 2 in that time frame. So they got Scarlet Witch and Mordo. So I would have preferred to have seen it gone to a different store, but arena's where it's at. I mean, if you're not trying to place high in arena, you're yourself because arena is how you get your free cores every day. There are some great characters in that arena store already. If you're not farming, if you're a newer player and you're not farming Quake or Drax, I don't know what to tell you. Those are two people you should be farming out of that arena store from day one, because they're gonna be really good for the newer players. Should there be another way to get arena credits other than dailies and ranking? No, no. I mean, it's the arena store. That's the whole point. I mean, you should be getting now. They should maybe change the math for the payouts, perhaps. But I don't think there should be any other way to get that. What are your thoughts on that question, Hebrew?
Yeah, so I'm of the same mind as you for the most part. I wish they would have added it into another store just because the arena store is the powerhouse of the stores as far as characters that you actually really want in there. You have a lot of people, right? You got Shield Security, Daredevil, Quake, even Drax, especially with the new Guardians team coming, that might end up being really good. You got Mordo, Scarlet Witch, now Deadpool. It's so many people there that you want. And in the other stores, you definitely have room to put some more people in there because, a lot of times I'm sitting on credits that I don't know what to do with because I'm like, who do I want here? So yeah, I think that it wasn't great. I was already at 300 whenever it came out, so like it doesn't affect me personally, even though I know it's not really about me. But everything's about me. So, but yeah, so I think that they could have definitely done it a little better. I also think that the raid store needs a bit of a rework anyways, but yeah, I think that putting it in the arena was just not a great move.
Agreed. I mean, yeah. Sorry, I was reading ahead to the next.
Yeah, no problem.
So, San Francisco asks, if you could live in any fictional universe, which would it be? Here's a kicker: you're just you. You wouldn't be a Jedi, a superhero, or anything fancy like that. What universe would you be in?
This is super easy for me, actually. I want to see what you say first, though, because I don't want you to steal mine.
Okay, I really, really doubt that I'm going to steal yours. Even though I have a suspicion.
I don't mean like maliciously. I don't mean like maliciously.
No, right. Oh, I
know.
I would probably have to live in the Star Trek universe.
Okay.
Maybe Star Wars. Even as just me, I'm okay with that because I could be a smuggler. I could do that.
Dorian the smuggler.
hey, I could do that. It's funny. Sorry, real quick tangent. I do the Bing. I do Bing questions every day, right? For the credits to get free stuff. Today they asked me the hardest question I've ever had to answer. You're brand new to space. Who would you rather hitch a ride with, Captain Kirk or Han Solo?
I would definitely pick Han Solo for sure. He'd be a lot more fun to hang out with.
You think?
Why would I? Oh my god!
Have you ever watched the original Star Trek?
Captain Kirk? Yeah, my dad loves that series. So I've actually seen a lot of it. So he has all of them on.
Trust me,
the whole series on.
Kirk knows the best places to go in that universe.
Oh, I know. I know he has. He's been coupled with some interesting people. But yeah, I would still say I would hold firm on Han Solo because I also like the Star Wars universe more. But it would be tough because I'd want to be a Jedi so bad. But yeah. But all right, so are you finished with yours?
Yeah. So it would either be Star Trek or Star Wars. But I'm okay being just me. That's fine.
Yeah. So for me, I picked this one because even being just me, I think that in this world, I would still be allowed to do what everyone else does, which is the Pokemon universe. I would love to be in the Pokemon universe. I would really do some crazy stuff if I could live in the Pokemon universe. I just want to be a Pokemaster, man. Like that's all I want in life.
Hey, I caught a shiny this week in Let's Go Pikachu.
You did?
I did. I caught a shiny Pikachu.
Let's Go Pikachu. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. So that's the kind of thing. But you could in the Pokemon universe, you could do that for real, man.
go on adventures when
Nice.
you're 13. I don't know how that works, but apparently you could just go
Right.
on adventure when you're 13, travel across the country, and
Because
not
it's
die.
completely safe for kids, man.
Exactly right. Much better universe there is. But yeah, so that would definitely be mine. Great question, by the way. Love that question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So Jay Shane or Jay Shane D asks, with the recent War Machine announcement, do you think he'll be better than Iron Man? And if so, do you think we can expect a buff to Iron Man and possibly the rest of the Avengers squad to reinvigorate their meta? I kind of feel like we talked about this. Did we?
Yeah.
I
think so. If you want to just reiterate some stuff, you can go ahead.
I don't know if he'll be better than Iron Man. I mean, Iron Man's, to be honest with you, I kind of feel like at this point in the game, Iron Man's okay. He's definitely not a legendary character or legendary level with the other legendaries. I'd like to see a buff to him personally, and my personal speculation is that we will see an Avengers buff around the time Endgame comes out, but that's 3 months down the road. So we've got time. We've got Kree and Captain Marvel before then. But I definitely think that we will see some type of Avengers or edition.
Yeah, I actually think that War Machine, whenever he comes out, is going to be actually a good bit better than Iron Man. Even if it's just because he's coming out later, so he's coming out during the power creep phase. So at least for a while, I think he's going to be better. But I do think that Iron Man's going to get like months and months and months from now, maybe even a year and a half from now. I think we're going to see an Iron Man rework a little bit, or buff, I should say. Maybe not a rework, but for right now, I definitely think that it's going to be better. On to the next.
Okay, I'm sorry, you cut out. You cut out. No, actually,
did I?
You cut out, and there's like silence on my end. So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay, and not your fault. I think it's your internet.
Maybe
it could be mine, but at this time of night, I would hope not.
I honestly think it's just Discord being Discord.
Maybe it's probably just Discord. So In a Big Country asks, with all the arguments concerning whether a hot dog is a sandwich, is a bowl of soup is a bowl of cereal with milk technically soup?
Yeah, I would say it's technically a soup. It fits the bill for a soup, I would say, because soups can be cream based, and so a lot of soups are made with milk, or at least a derivative of it. So yeah, I would say so. And then whatever you have floating in it is just whatever tickles your fancy. So sure, it's a soup.
Yeah,
live life the way you want it, people.
yeah. I like a rose by any other name, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
If you want to call it a soup, I okay. I mean, there are cold soups, so I can't argue that a soup is hot.
Yeah.
I do not think a hot dog is a sandwich. I think it's a completely different entity. I mean, sure, it's a piece of meat between, but the thing is that that a hot dog bun is technically one slice of bread, not two. So, how fine you want to start cutting these hairs. So I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Hulk Smash 50
I disagree.
asks,
I'm not even going to bother with that. So yeah, go ahead.
I find the sales to be really overpriced. I want offers that cost $5 or less. What do you think is a happy medium or good deals on offers that can benefit the players willing to spend, as well as make some money for the development? You want to take, as a person who has spent more on this game than I have, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with you. The offers in this game are awful. I think the one that I was the most excited about to date, even though there was tons of controversy surrounding it, it was definitely the 99-cent offer that they offered to only certain people, at first at least. But that one, like, so many people bought that, so that was so much more money for them overall. But there is a balancing act for them. There are
there's less people that buy the other ones, but they also cost way more money. So I would say, I think that more participation in offers is always better because it's kind of a gateway for non-spenders to become spenders, and they've already done statistics on once you open that door, it's hard to close it. And so you've already gotten more more offer uptake, which looks better on the sales end, I think. And you're making money from more people, and you're also keeping the player base happy. I think that's I'm fine with really low priced offers where you actually get a decent amount of stuff for it. I think it was 1,000 cores for 99 cents.
Oh yeah, the mistake offer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, they did do one for didn't they? But there was another one that
started
was
off
a
as
mistake. That was Red
Yeah,
Star.
yeah. I'm talking about the one that was meant originally for just people who had never bought anything before.
Yeah.
But then they ended up offering it to everyone, so even the people that never bought anything before got to buy another one again. But whatever. So yeah, it is what it is. I just think that lower price for better offers will end up leading to a happier community and more offer uptake, which will probably look better in sales. But that's just me, and there's probably a reason for why they are doing it the way that they are. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
What about you?
So everybody obviously has their own personal value price point. I kind of try to look at things as a supply and demand scenario, and it's really hard when applied to virtual currency or virtual items because there's no production cost. You've got some development cost, obviously, and you've got upkeep for like the servers and things of that nature, but you're not actually making a widget. What I'm buying from you doesn't require you to have a machine to do tooling. You don't have to buy materials. It's really kind of a weird dynamic when we start talking about these virtual currencies and these virtual items. I think that you would make a ton of money. Look, I would buy a ton. If I could buy, 5 red stars for $1, right? I'd do that. I would probably do that twice a day, every day. Okay? And that would put me in the $60 a month bracket. That's a lot. For me, that's a lot of money. Now, if you imagine that this game has 100,000 people and everybody, or let's say just half of people. So let's say, I'm sure this game has more than 100,000, but let's just say 100,000 people do it, right? And you do that at $60 a pop, that's $6 million a month, right? I promise you, it's not going to cost you $6 million in development costs for maintaining a Red Star environment. So I think that's one thing that game companies really fail at is they overvalue what people are willing to pay. And I think that if they just said, "Hey, look, here's $1 for this," people would, especially given the odds that we've got. You got to buy 1,000 of these, just to get the average. So I think lower costs are better in a virtual environment because more people are going to be willing to spend, and you wind up making more money in the long run. Make them actual microtransactions.
Yeah, I think we're losing stock in the name microtransactions now. They're just becoming transactions or giant transactions in some cases.
Yeah, because because if this game shuts down tomorrow, everybody that spent money, what do you have to show for it other than a sense of satisfaction?
Yeah,
at what you paid.
And that's the thing. Yeah, and that's the thing that I've actually had a real problem with more so than anything else. There was a game that I used to play. What was it? Angry Birds Puzzles, I think it was called, or something. And I used to play this. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. I used to play it a bit, and I bought like the little beginner pack thing for like $2, right? And I came back about 6 months later, and they were done with the game. They ended it. They fired everyone and destroyed the server and whatever. I don't know what they did, but you couldn't play it anymore. And so even though I only spent a small amount, I was thinking instantly about all the people that had dropped so much money on this game, and I'm like, wow, they legitimately have nothing to show for it now.
Yeah.
Like that sucks. So yeah, and that's something that a lot of people should think about a little more often. And I think that I think people's minds would change a lot on spending whenever they actually thought about that, especially at the beginning of a game, the beginning of a life cycle of the game, whenever you don't know how long it's going to be out, you don't know how successful it's going to be.
Yeah, I think I've.
So yeah,
I was gonna say, I think I've talked about this before. That just a year ago, I was playing a game very similar to the Legends Reborn, from Bandai Namco, that was in soft launch, early beta, and a lot of people had spent a lot of money. I was in contact with developers. I mean, things seemed good, and they just announced, "Hey, we're shutting it down in March," and it was like, what? And it wasn't because the game wasn't making money. It was to focus. I honestly think it was because they were focusing. They wanted to shift all resources to their Dragon Ball Z titles, and maybe the Naruto. But it was kind of devastating, especially for people that had dropped hundreds of thousands of dollars in that soft launch.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And yeah, just the concept of it potentially going away when leaving me with nothing and all that entertainment value gone is upsetting to even think about.
Yeah.
But all right, continue. We should probably move on to the next question.
Well, we only have one more, and it's directed specifically at you. And this is from Chewy. And so Chewy asks, boy, can I murder Australian actor? No.
Do it.
No. It would be
do
so
it.
embarrassing. I'm not going to do it. It would be so embarrassing.
Do it, please, for me.
Hey, mate, given your desire to catch them all, how happy are you for the upcoming Detective Pikachu movie?
That was actually not that bad. Not that bad. You forgot to add in a few crikeys and things like that.
Crikey! What do you think of them Sheilas in that new Detective Pikachu movie?
Much better. There we go. I know all Australians everywhere are shaking their head right now. Like,
I told you the story about the guy I work with who I thought was from Scotland and turns out he's from Australia. Yeah?
No, you'll have to save that one for me for a later day. I want to hear that one.
Okay.
But all right, so for Pikachu, let's go. Or I'm sorry, Pikachu Detective movie. I actually, so originally whenever I saw it, I was like, oh my god, this is such a gimmicky movie. I can't believe that they're doing this. And then I saw Ryan Reynolds was cast in it, and I was like, okay. And then I saw the commercial for it, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. I'm totally down to see this. Sure enough, I'm actually excited to see it. I don't think it's gonna be like, oh my god, amazing, but I think that it has some potential to be a very funny, good movie. I wish it was rated M, because I would love to see like a rated M universe of Pokemon and people colliding.
Deadpool,
almost
Pokemon.
Kind of like, yeah, like like, okay, even chat was like, yeah, Deadpool meets Pokemon. So I would love to see something like that, but obviously they're going to keep it, for everyone.
Yeah, you can't. You can't do that with that license.
Exactly. Same thing with what was it, the movie with Melissa McCarthy and the puppets? I forgot what it's called.
Oh, yeah, okay. I haven't seen that one.
I really
where
want
it's like a detective murder.
Yes,
I just think it's really going to be M-rated. So,
oh, that was 100%. I mean, you saw what happened in one of the commercials, right?
Oh yeah, I'm just like, no.
Yeah, like that was the most. That was amazing. I have to watch. I can't believe I never saw it.
It's almost like the movie Sausage Party. I'm like, I kind of want to see it, but I'm like, no.
I think I really need to watch it. I don't think it ever came out around here. I heard it got terrible reviews, but either way, I have to see it. But yeah, I think I would love to see something like that, but it's not going to happen. That being said, I think they're going to put. I think it's going to be really good. Actually, I think it's going to surprise a lot of people, and I think it has potential to be like a really, really amazing movie. But I think it is a small potential to be like that. But yeah, I'm kind of fun. I'm waiting for it. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, and I know it wasn't directed toward me, but I also am kind of.
No, you aren't allowed to.
Because
you aren't allowed to answer.
Well, I mean, it was directed directly towards you, so I feel kind of
No,
like
no,
I'm
seriously.
stealing your question.
Yeah, no, no.
Uh,
What was it?
with the way I've kind of gotten into Pokemon over the past month or two, I'm looking forward to it. I'd always been kind of hovering around the, excuse me, the Pokemon universe. I knew of it.
Mhm.
I'd watch the cartoon every once in a while, but I was never like into it until like we added Pokecord to our Discord. I got back into Pokemon. My goodness,
Oh my god.
Pokemon,
old.
Pikachu, Pokemon. Pokemon Go, getting back into that a little more. And then the Let's Go on the Switch really has grabbed my attention. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But I also really enjoy everything Ryan Reynolds does, even Green Lantern. So
I never even saw Green Lantern. I probably should.
it's worth the watch.
But-
I'll be honest with you. It gets really, really panned, but it. I don't know. It wasn't an F movie. I mean, it definitely wasn't the greatest. The more times I see it though, the less bad it gets. If that
I heard
tells
it
you
was-
anything.
I heard or maybe read an article, or not read, but like read the title of, but that equates to reading these days, right? So I kind of saw an article or something that was like it was ahead of its time, basically, or like it just came out too early. Like now that we are in the big superhero meta movie, it would have done a lot better.
I think
people
so.
were
It was
saying,
very
and-
CG heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, I was talking to a guy at work about it actually, and his comment was what DC tried to do with Green Lantern was what Marvel did with Iron Man, and kind of take this B character that people knew of but didn't maybe know about. Like if you before Iron Man came out in 2008, if you walked to people out on the street and said, "Do you know Iron Man's backstory?" They'd go, no. Right? Yeah. So they know who Iron Man was and stuff like that, but probably not his backstory or, his evolution. And so DC tried to do the same thing with Green Lantern, and I think they reached for the stars and they just fell really short.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I'll probably watch it well, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if I'll end up watching it or not, but either way, we'll see what happens with that. I do want to mention also, just because I think that this needs to happen, and if there's anyone out there that is in game design, Flip from our chat, he said open world Pokemon, come on Nintendo. I completely agree with that.
Absolutely. That would be awesome.
I've been waiting for an open world Pokemon game forever, or a Pokemon MOBA. I want it so bad. Anything like that, I will kill for. It'd be so much fun. Oh, I love it. Oh, Chewy says it's slated for 2020. Apparently, I haven't seen anything like that.
No, I haven't either. I'm now going to research that.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. If that is the case.
Because if that's on the Switch, I'm pre-ordering it now.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know, Pokemon. Yeah, absolutely. Pokemon MOBA. It means or what does the M stand for?
Mobile Battle Arena.
Yeah, I think it's something Battle Arena. Yeah, I think it's Mobile Battle Arena or something. Mass Online Battle Arena. I think that's what it is.
Mass Online. There it is. Yeah.
But that's what like League of Legends is and stuff like that. I play a lot of MOBAs. But yeah, it's basically League of Legends with Pokemon is what I'd want. I'd kill for that. That'd be amazing. I've been saying that they should do that for years. So if something like that ever does come out, I deserve a cut. But anyways, that's about it.
Okay. And there actually was a question I missed. My apologies, Flip. I apparently didn't scroll up high enough. So Flip asked, with the expectations of hopefully getting test server access soon, do you think that your main account will suffer because you now have access to essentially every character at max level to play around with? So, this is a really kind of sore subject with me, mainly because I've been told I would get test server access since June, and that never. Then the test servers went away, and then I heard from the community manager December 21st saying, "Hey, just to let you know that at the beginning of January, after everybody's back from vacation, I'm going to get you into the test server." Well, we're in the middle of January, and that's not happening. And then I heard today from somebody that the NDAs are supposed to go out Monday, and that we're supposed to have test server access by the end of next week. Maybe. We'll see. At this point, I don't trust Fox Next.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I think that tells me that they're terrible at communication and actually doing what they say.
yeah, and my understanding, even from back in December, when I was talking with Fox Next community manager, was that the expectation is that we'll have 1 or 2 weeks on the test server, then it'll come down for patching and updates, and then we'll get test server access back. So we'll be getting access to new characters. We'll be under a lock and key of, you can do content, but you can't release content until X date time. You can't talk about it, you can't release it, you can't do videos. So will my main account suffer? No. Will I enjoy theory crafting more, and will it push me more into getting into the video side of things? Yes. But I don't think my main playing account is going to suffer. Hebrew, I don't know if you're wanting the access or going to get it. I don't know if you've made inquiries, but would it affect your main account?
So for a while now, like back in the day, whenever I was speaking to Jason a good bit, we had talked about it, and he had mentioned it, but I just don't know if I want. And I know I brought this up to you. I just don't know if I want test server access because I already spent so much time on this game, and I feel like playing another game of it would be so much. So I think what would happen is, yes, my main account would suffer if I had access to that, because I would want to play on that a good bit. But I think the novelty of it would wear off rather quickly once I kind of figured out everything and what we're going to be getting and what it's like. And then I would go directly back to my main account. So yeah, I think that temporarily for like a week or so, I think my main account would suffer, but after that it would pick back up, for sure. But I would definitely only do like basically like 90% on one at a time.
I can see that. I mean, it really leads back to, how much time the game requires, like
yeah, exactly.
But for me, like, the test server is mostly about it because you don't really have to complete content. You're not, because I've been told we'll get max characters. So at least Gold Star. I don't know if they're going to do Red Star, but we're going to get max, like T13, max level character, 7-star. So for me, it'll be more about, taking, I hope it's sandbox so that if a raid drops, right, or we get it, like, okay, so let's say we got it and Green Goblin was in there and somebody wanted, hey, can you use Green Goblin on this node in the raid? I'd be able to go in and test that out with different characters and go, yeah, it works if you try this or you don't try that. To me, that's what I want to do. It's not going to be completionist like the main game is. The main game is my alliance working together, whereas the test server is going to be me just honestly testing out different comps at different places to find out what works and test synergies, theory crafting, things of that nature. So I don't think it would be as big a time requirement.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, all right. Well, was there anything else you wanted to add to any of the questions or anything this week?
No, that's about it. Thank you, Della, for giving us the question for the Patron of the Week segment.
Yeah, and I do apologize to everybody. Well, sorry.
No, that's pretty much everything. Just want to, thank everyone, and thanks for everyone coming live, everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I do apologize for all the math heaviness. And I know it's a lot, but it's kind of important to understand how these things work. And unfortunately, it is very math heavy. So, Hebrew, before we head out, though, why don't you tell everybody who you're going to be?
I'll be farming. Let's see. I guess I'm going to be continuing on Shield for a little bit. Actually, I'm sorry, no, not Shield. Kree. I'm going to be continuing on Kree because I need to get the rest of them up to 6 stars for the next time whenever Fury rolls around. And then which works out well because I'm actually gearing them up a good bit at the same time because I'm preparing for, their update, because we know that they're going to, unless something crazy happens, they're going to be the next ones to be updated. And we know now that it's actually coming sooner. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I want that to happen. We'll see. But yeah, that's about all I'm farming. I can't really think of anything else right now that I'm doing differently. It's always the same week for me, basically. Something Shield related. What about you?
So I am still working on Punisher and Iron Fist. Trying to get, they're both sitting right around 100 shards. So trying to get to that 100 mark. I do 50 core refreshes every day. So I do the 4 times 50. So I do Punisher, Iron Fist, 2 Bullseye, Miss Marvel. I do the 2 Kree, and then my bonus energies usually go towards farming AIM. So yeah, that's pretty much my typical day. So you could almost say Punisher, Iron Fist, Miss Marvel, Bullseye, and then just kind of whomever after that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I don't really worry too much about gear right now because my Defender's T11, and I'm just kind of organically trying to grow them to T12. I should probably focus it so that I could get to T13 because I'm very, very close to finishing the Dark Dimension the first time through.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
what are you on now?
I'm actually on the Ultron node. So
okay.
I'm on the very last node. I'm just trying to fight through the shield troopers because those guys are a dang nightmare with all the counters they do and the way they're positioned. I haven't been able to drop Ultron really anything yet. But I finished both shield troopers and then 2 more drops. So I was just like, awesome.
Yeah. That one's a pain.
So yeah. I'm just slugging through it though. The defenders really help, and finally getting Rocket to 7-star with his 4 red star really helps. Because I just can burn down 1 toon at a time or 1 character at a time on that one.
Yeah.
So, and then I get to start the second run once I finish that. So I think I've got 10 left in the Ultron node.
Okay, so that's not terrible. Getting closer.
No. So just it's getting closer and closer and closer every day. 6 months in, I might finish it. So, is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming and listening to the Ravager Report. If you'd like to become part of our active and interactive community, you can do so at our Discord channel at discord.me/Ravager Report. Please remember, this is a URL, not a Discord invite. If you'd like to send us an email, you can email us at theravagerreport@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at RavagerRepo. We'd love to hear your comments and feedback on the show and things that you feel that we can do to improve. If you like what you hear and would like to support our show, you can join our patrons at patreon.com/Ravager Report, where we have subscription levels ranging from $2 to $20. We do want to send out a great big thank you to all of our patrons and let you know that we appreciate your support. Until next week, keep fighting, true believers.